And welcome to the Sportscast, May 31st, 2019. If you haven't yet, please subscribe in all our channels, YouTube, Periscope, iTunes, and of course, like us on Facebook. If you're in iTunes, please leave a rating and review. Please subscribe. It will help us out tremendously. And visit us on thesportscast.net. All our podcasts are there. The Toronto Raptors take Game 1 against the Golden State Warriors. Is this foreshadowing something? Or is this just Game 1? To join us to talk to us about Game 1, Caillou Borden, welcome back to the Sportscast.
Welcome.
Caillou Borden, I saw the whole game. I was really pumped. I was not expecting to see this game turn out to be like this. What were your thoughts?
I thought that Toronto was allowed to play more physical. I felt like Golden State struggled. Contested shooting. I felt like outside of Root struggled. I mean, Draymond Green had a triple-double. I felt like he really struggled. 6 turnovers, 5 personal fouls. I felt like they really couldn't get anything going. And Siakam, boy, did he have himself a game. 32 points, 14 of 17 shooting, 2 of 3 from 3, 2 of 2 from the free throw line, 8 rebounds, 5 assists, 5 of 5 in transition. At one point in the game, made 11 straight field goals, transition dunks, just doing it all. The defense, the offense, doing it all. I also feel like Danny Green, who I talked about in the last series, in the Bucks series, and he was able to make 3 threes, 11 points. Marc Gasol did a great job stretching the floor. He's open, 20 points, 6 of 10 field goal, 6 of 6 on the free throw line. Really did a good job when Curry pick and roll the half court. Really did a good job. Every time Clay and Steph dribbled, really forced to make quick decisions. So I felt like they did a great job with that.
One thing that I really noticed, or like the big thing, was Pascal Siakam. Kawhi Leonard didn't have much of a showing because the Warriors were guarding him. But I think Toronto's plan was to give it to Pascal. What you think about his performance?
I thought it was amazing. I mean, at one point in the game, he made 11 straight field goals. I mean, I thought he was great. I mean, he was 5 of 5 in transition. He made 11 straight field goals. In NBA history, he actually joined in NBA history 30 points on 80% shooting in a finals game in NBA history. He actually joined Shaq June 6, 2004. He joined Tony Kukoc June 12, 1998, and Michael Jeffrey Jordan June 5 of 1991. So he had a very historic performance.
Yeah, Pascal was definitely like the star of the show last night with 32 points. Obviously, knowing Golden State, do you think after Game 1, do you think they figured out Toronto already?
I think it's going to be a tough series, and especially without Kevin Durant, and he could possibly be back in Game 4. I think if Toronto keeps this up and the referee is going to allow them to play physical, I think this could really be a series, and that would be interesting to see if Kevin Durant comes back. Sees that, but I mean, you're looking at Golden State. Even if you get 5 from Steph and Clay, where else are you getting other scoring? Jeff Green better, but they're gonna have to play better defense because they allowed 24 points in the fast 16 turnovers. I felt like Toronto's crowd really set the tone. I mean, it's your report that for a 9 o'clock game, Toronto fans are out there at 7 o'clock in the morning, 14 hours before game time. And I really felt like Toronto's crowd, every time Golden State made a run, even when they cut it to 3 at a point in the fourth quarter, Toronto's crowd really, really contributed.
Yeah, the Toronto crowd was a very hostile environment for the Warriors. It was so loud. It felt like Sacramento Kings from the early 2000s. Steph Curry had 34 points. Klay Thompson had 21. Draymond Green had 10. And you're right. It kind of feels like there was like a missing link they need, and it's probably Kevin Durant. Don't you think Steph Curry was forcing shots towards the end of the game?
I think Steph Curry was forcing shots, but that's considering the fact that Klay Thompson, they're the two that have to carry, and they weren't getting much production. I mean, they scored 53 points, and the rest of the team scored 56 points combined and really struggled. They only shot 43% from the floor. So I feel like it was incumbent on them to do more, and I feel like they need to get more production out of Draymond Green. He did have a triple-double, but it wasn't really one of those where he really truly made an impact in that game. He obviously had 6 turnovers, 5 fouls. Even at the end, getting upset with Drake. Yeah, that Jordan Belling gave you 2 points. He had 8 points combined. You had Hobble 8 about the end of the game, which is another storyline we should look at for game two. Or what type of strength he'll be at for game two.
Draymond Green only had 10 points. DeMarcus Cousins played for 8 minutes, only had 3 points. What you think about his presence yesterday?
Actually, it was a little bit in the middle of DeMarcus Cousins. I feel like he was his passing was his patience was good, but in transition, man, boy, that 6 weeks of missing basketball really costs you, especially when you're not mentally coming back in the finals after you miss 6 weeks and you already wasn't that great defensively. I feel like there was one play in particular in transition where DeMarcus Cousins really showed what missing 6 weeks is like. So I feel like on one standpoint, in the 8 minutes, he was, he did solid, honestly, but on defense, he really struggled. And I don't think that he's going to have as big of an impact this series because he played 8 minutes, and I don't think he can play much more than like 10, 11 minutes this series per game.
Yeah, that's something that we have to, take a look at. He definitely came back, game one. Everyone's saying, like how much minutes he'll put, but 8 minutes. But yeah, you're right. He can't put too many minutes. Obviously, he's probably still recovering. But, Kerr said that, Kevin Durant will not be ready by game two, and he most likely be game 3 or game 4. Now, they keep pushing this back every time. I've heard he could have come back from the Houston Rockets, but apparently he wasn't ready then. Is Durant the missing ingredient, or do you think the Warriors can still do it without him?
I think it's going to be difficult to do, especially if they're allowing, like yesterday, Toronto was, they were getting physical on the ball screens. They were really aggressive. Toronto has a lot of length. Siakam at 6'9". It's one of the few times where Draymond Green is not the most physical player on the team. Toronto can throw Siakam at him. They can throw Leonard at him. They can throw Gasol at him. They have a lot of different bodies that can bang with him. Ibaka can certainly give you some points. I also felt like Van Fleet was, good yesterday, 15 points, 5 of 8. His wife had a baby, so I feel like he's playing with more of a purpose. That certainly helps. I think they need Kevin Durant back. I think that he's the one unguardable player. Steph Curry and Clay are going to do there, but you can find a way to get more physical with them and make it different. With Kevin Durant, that you can do when he can shoot over the top of anyone. So I certainly think that Clay can Kawhi can make it different, but there's not much they can do. I think he needs Kevin Durant back.
Yeah, it's going to be quite interesting once it comes back. But obviously, when he comes back, there'll be some rust, but we'll see how much of an impact he'll be. Marc Gasol had an impact with the Raptors. Had 20 points on 10 shots in Game 1. Gasol finally looked ready to take on the heavier scoring load, readily accepting post passes, making spin moves, and drop steps. It seemed this whole Toronto team played a total game. I think everyone had a huge participation.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that Marc Gasol, like you said, 20 points, 6 of 10, 2 of 4, 6 of 6 on the free throw line, 7 rebounds, 2 steals. I also feel like he did a great job defensively. And I also feel like Toronto, when you can see when Golden State was down by 3, they never panicked. That's another sign. Also on the Steph Curry relocation threes, a lot of times a lot of teams panic on it. I felt like Toronto did a great job. They attacked the whole game, rattled. Even we know Golden State's famous for those third quarter runs. They only lost the third quarter by 3, 32 to 29. So they even did a great job after the half. So that they were focused after the half. And that really goes a long way because we know Golden State's a huge third quarter team. And that goes a long way to making sure they're able to get the win.
Yeah, it's something that, we'll for sure definitely take on. But, if Toronto had to win one game, it had to be Game 1. I think losing Game 1, would have been a little bit tough for them. But I think Game 1, just to, have that home court to feel like, yes, they're in this series. We'll see what happens Game 2. I think I personally think Golden State's going to figure them out, and I think they have. Knowing like the Warriors are very strategic, they see how it is. But I never seen Golden State coming from behind like this.
Yeah, I also agree with that point because Toronto coming into Game 1, I have the stat in front of me, they were 3-15 all time in Game 1, and this is the first time we're going to see Steve Kerr's team. It's also worth noting that Steve Kerr's team, this is the first time they start on the road in the finals era, and this is the first time they really lost a finals game on the road. And there was a stat that came out of ESPN Stats and Info. Home teams in the finals have won 12 straight after having a double-digit lead at halftime. And now the Raptors are 3-0 versus Golden State this year. And I think I think Draymond Green is going to play with more sense of urgency in Game 2, and you're going to see much more efficient Steph and Clay. But they got to figure out a way to get some kind of scoring from Iguodala. Is he going to be more hobbled, or is that 3 days of extra rest going to help him, or is he going to be more hobbled? Because that's what's going to be, key for them. And what are they going to get from their bench? Because I didn't think that they got much production from their bench. And that's why Steve Kerr is trusting less and less guys, even though he only played 12 guys. I mean, Kevon Looney played 28 minutes, Livingston played 18, and then it drops off to 9. Quinn Cook, DeMarcus Cousins played 8, Jarrett and McKinney only played 8. So he's going to have to find another guy to play, especially if Iguodala plays but he's hobbled. I think that's going to be important for Louis State, finding that fourth guy behind Draymond Green.
Yeah, Iguodala was limping off the court with an apparent leg injury, but the MRI came out clean, so he's definitely going to be okay for Game 2, but maybe not 100%. But really, who's 100%? By now, it's everyone's playing hurt somewhere. But yeah, Iguodala is a very key factor, especially without Durant. They definitely need his defense. And how do you think Warriors covered Kawhi?
I think they did a great job on Kawhi. I mean, obviously they have to double team because he's too strong for Clay and he's too strong for Draymond. So I actually think they did a really good job on him. I mean, he was in foul trouble early. He still finished with 23 points. He had a solid third quarter. He finished with 23 points. He still had 8 rebounds and 5 assists. So, I mean, they're going to have to make a decision. If you want to double, Kawhi Leonard, you're going to get more production from Siakam. That's going to free up Siakam. Obviously, you got a lot of transition baskets, which helped. I think they did a great job on Kawhi. I mean, I think Kawhi looked really hobbled. I think I'm going to be interested to see how that play in Game 2 because he just didn't have a lot of lift on his shots. A lot of his shots are line drive. So he just didn't have a lot of lift. He went 3 of 6 and 3, but he just didn't have a lot of lift. But he obviously got to the free throw line at very important times when they were down by 3 in the fourth quarter when they needed something. He got to the free throw line 12 times. Obviously, he made 10. He still had 5 assists, and he was still great defensively. And I think that the fact that Toronto was able to win this game with their supporting cast bodes well for them going forward in Game 2 because I still think we're going to get that Kawhi game. But I think Toronto able to win Game 1, and typically they struggle in Game 1. Them being able to win Game 1 bodes well for them in Game 2 because Kawhi Leonard's going to obviously play well as the years go forward.
I'm thinking we'll see that Kawhi game in Game 2.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely.
30 to 40 points because his time will come. I think they're saving him, or maybe later on in the series, but we'll see how it goes. But I think Game 2 is going to be – is it a pivotal Game 2, or do you think if the Warriors are down 0-2, you think they're fine going back home?
I think for Toronto, it's very pivotal because if you win Game 2, all of a sudden people are going to be talking about – if you win Game 2 and Kevin Durant comes back in Game 3, that puts a lot of pressure on the Warriors. Even though they're going back home, obviously it's the last couple of games of the Oracle. You got that standpoint. Also, what type of strength is Kevin Durant going to be at? The role players play better at home, but I think if Toronto can win Game 2, they can put a little bit of a statement. Obviously, you just protect the home court, but now Toronto's players are getting a little bit more emboldened, and now they go to Game 3. Even though it's going to be at the Oracle, there's going to be a little more pressure on the Warriors to come out strong, and I think they will, but there could be a little more pressure on them knowing that Kevin Durant's likely to leave at the end of the year. There could be a little bit of pressure on them to win the Game 3.
Yeah, totally agree on that. I think for the Warriors being down 0-2 is not a big deal because this team could come back and bounce and just win the series. Think about it. We saw, 2 years ago or 3 years ago, Cleveland was down 3-1 and they won the series. Golden State was down 3-1 against OKC and still won the series. So 0-2 is nothing right now.
No, it's not that I don't think they can come back and win the series. I think they can, but I think Toronto having that juice, and I also think Toronto's never had the best player on their team. And I also think in 2015, not to diminish Golden State, they went against, when Kyrie and Kevin Love wasn't there in 2016 thing, and 2017. A fully healthy thing, and we could see Iguodala's injuries and they've never really had a situation where Kevin Durant's a looming free agent. Steph Curry, as great as he is, he's 30. Klay Thompson, they're no longer the strength and numbers team like they were in the beginning of the era, and that's why it was important that Kevin Durant gets back, because Draymond Green, is the third best player, and outside of that, they're not getting production. Your Iguodala, he's not getting any younger, and he's certainly not the player he was in that championship run.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think Draymond Green has to step it up, and of course, a whole lot of players. It's funny because I was seeing Jordan Bell scored like 2 points towards the end of the game. It was kind of, Jordan Bell scored finally. But yeah, we'll see what happens. I'm really anxious. I mean, this series, it's not going to be like last year. This series is different. It has. Like the Cleveland series were good, but I don't know. It feels like this one could be closer because like the last 2 years, it was 4-0 and then 4-1 Warriors. But I think this one's going to be more eye opening.
Yeah, I also agree with that point, and I also think that it's not to diminish Cleveland in any way. I think this is the best defensive team that Golden State faced in that era, because we got to look at it like this. The fact is, in the Portland series, Portland wants to run with you. Houston settled for a lot of three-pointers. Pascal Siakam and Kawhi Leonard attacking the rim. Like, they're attacking the rim. They're getting Clay and Draymond in foul trouble. So that goes a long way in this series. I feel like this is the toughest test because Kyle Lowry has drawn 14 charges. And they put up a stat on ABC last night in the first half. He's drawn 14 charges this playoffs. Danny Green is a very good defender. Marcus Gasol can switch. Kawhi Leonard's an outstanding defender, and Siakam is coming. So I think this is really the toughest team that Golden State's faced defensively.
In other NBA news, the LA Clippers were fined $50,000 for tampering by the NBA for comments head coach Doc Rivers made about Toronto Raptors star Kawhi Leonard earlier this week. While the league did not specify which comments violated the anti-tampering rule, Rivers compared Leonard to Michael Jordan while breaking down the Raptors matchup with the Golden State Warriors on ESPN's NBA Finals preview show. He said, "He's the most like Jordan that we've seen," Rivers said after former Lakers president of basketball operations, Magic Johnson, talked about Leonard on Tuesday's preview show. So I don't know if he's really like Jordan. I don't think he is.
My thoughts on it is that he has obviously traits like Jordan, the demeanor, but I don't think they're comparing him straight up like a literal comparison to Jordan. I think it's more like his mentality, the hands. I think a lot of it's the hands. I think a lot of it's the physical traits. I don't think they're comparing him to Jordan. And my thoughts on the comments is it's simply like, Doc Rivers obviously, I think it's between the Clippers and the Raptors. So obviously, having a coach on the show to talk about another, superstar player, I think it's great for the league. I think the league as a whole should get rid of the tampering rule. Here's why. Because we all know that they're back channeling behind the scenes to talk about these free agents. And that's how they're really going to sign these free agents. Nobody's really going to talk on July 1st. I think obviously there needs to be, league rules in place to make sure that it's not getting out of hand. But I think nobody's really waiting to July 1st to talk. And I think Doc Rivers is making some very assailant points about Kawhi Leonard. Obviously, Toronto knows it's going to be an uphill battle to keep Kawhi Leonard. But I don't think that his comments on Kawhi Leonard is obviously going to affect Kawhi Leonard to want to stay or the adversary to want to leave to go to the Clippers.
Beyond the NBA, NFL news, as organized team activities wrap up in Cleveland, head coach of the Browns, Freddie Kitchens, expressed Thursday that he wished new Browns receiver Odell Beckham Jr. had been around more. OBJ has been absent for most of Cleveland's 9-day voluntary OTAs as is right under the collective bargaining agreement, but Kitchens said that the whiteout missed out on a bunch. Asked what his goals are for Beckham when he likely returns for the team's mandatory minicamp next Tuesday, Kitchens said, "I just want to see him." You think it's a big deal or not a big deal?
I don't think it's a big deal in the grand scheme of things, but I would love to see Odell Beckham come to voluntary because you're learning a new system. Obviously, the connection with Jarvis Landry. I think you're learning a new system. It's a new opportunity. You're in Cleveland. You're not in New York. It's a new offense. I think he should come to the voluntary, even though it's voluntary. and he should come. You're learning a new offense, 1. You got a new coach, 2. 3, it's a new quarterback. And 4, it's just a new city. And obviously you need to meet people. You need to go through, it's a new structure for you. So I think he should come to Cleveland, learn an offense, stay a couple hours, ask some questions, and certainly just get used to, his surroundings today. It could better make him, for the season.
Yeah, you're right. Obviously, these things are always, these drama, these news always comes up, especially during these voluntary OTAs. But when once the minicamp, those things die down and you see him play and everything. I think Tom Brady had the same issue, didn't show up, but it was not a big, it was a big nothing burger. And same for Bell. I don't think Bell showed up for that, but it's just voluntary. It's just contractual stuff. But anything else before game predictions?
No.
How the Yankees doing, by the way?
The Yankees are doing great. I mean, they got postponed yesterday. The Yankees have won 12 of their last 13 series. They faced Boston tonight. I also think the postponement helped the Yankees because the Yankees don't got to do the opener. Strategy in baseball. They got their 3 better pitchers set up for the series. And the game was going to be made up on August 3. And by August 3, the Yankees should have most of their players back. There was a report that Didi Gregorius might come back next week. And so that should go well for the team as we go forward.
All right. Game predictions. Who do you have tonight? Boston Red Sox at the New York Yankees.
I think the Yankees are going to win tonight. I think the Yankees are going to get to Chris Sale early tonight. And I could see the Yankees winning 7-2. I think the Yankees are going to score. I think the Yankees are going to score 3 in the first. Boston will answer with 2. And then because Boston's bullpen, I think the Yankees will add 1 from the 6th inning on. And the Yankees will win 7-2 tonight.
7-2 Yankees. Stanley Cup, Boston Bruins at the St. Louis Blues. Series is tied 1-1.
I think the Bruins win tonight. Don't really know much about hockey.
It's okay.
I think the Bruins are going to win tonight. Yeah, I think the Bruins are going to win tonight.
Your guess is as good as mine. And for Saturday, I know it's a soccer thing, but you could just pick one of them. For the Champions League final, Liverpool versus Tottenham.
I'm going to go with Liverpool.
Liverpool, good choice. That's my team. And Sunday night, Game 2, Golden State at the Toronto Raptors. Who takes it? And you could give us a prediction and a little more extended prediction.
I'm going to go with Toronto, actually. I think Toronto's going to serve at home. I think Kawhi Leonard's going to play much better. I don't think you're going to see 32 points from Siakam, but if he's going to give us, 20, 21, 22, Marc Gasol gives us 15, a better game from Kawhi. I think we don't have to shoot as well. We don't have to get to the line 32 times and shoot 50%. But if we shoot 46%, we get to the line like 25 times. We keep our turnovers down. We continue to play physical. I think we can win this game, another close one. I think this game is not going to be a 9. I think obviously it was close in the game. I think Steph and Clay have a better game. I think Draymond Green has a better game. I could see Toronto winning on some free throws. So I'd go Toronto 113, Golden State 109.
Not a bad prediction. Much more closer score than Game 1. I think Golden State's going to take Game 2, make things interesting. But man, after seeing Toronto, I would not be surprised they win Game 2. It's going to be a great Sunday night. These finals are wow. I'm really pumped. So we'll see what happens. And random question: what goes best with strawberries?
I like my strawberries plain.
There you go.
Plain.
You wash them and you eat them. There you go. Caillou, how can people reach you to talk to about the NBA Finals?
They can reach me on Twitter at Caillou Borden 12, and you can reach me on Instagram at CaillouB123.
Caillou is our NBA guy, of course. He watches baseball. He's also a baseball guy, and of course some NFL football and some college, and also follow us on thesportscast.net or on Twitter at thesportscast1. We'll definitely be covering the NBA Finals. We had the Sportscast Twitter following the NBA Finals last night, and really excited. Really like the anthem. Everything was great. So, anyways, thesportscast.net. Our next show will be next week. I think Saturday. We might have Victor tomorrow. No, Victor probably next week after Game 3, and of course we have Caillou again to recap Game 3 and also preview Game 4 because these things are going to get really, really heated. Anyways, Caillou, I appreciate you coming on to the Sportscast.
Thank you. Appreciate it.